All right, Sunday Night Football here on pregame.tv. This is Bryan Leonard's pick. It's the Detroit Lions at the San Francisco 49ers. Bryan, tell us who you like and your main point.
I'll take Detroit. This is an overreaction. We talked about this in the videos last week about overreacting to what you saw in the preseason. New York Jets, I think we all had them at one point or another. This is another situation. Did you know in week 2 of the NFL, the underdogs rule? Last 5 years, they've covered 60% of the time.
Wow.
And you take a look at these games. I make my own power ratings, obviously. I went through the entire card for the NFL, and the only team that was a favorite that still had some value, in my opinion, was San Diego, and that's because they played on national TV and they look like, you know, if it wasn't for the long snapper for the Oakland, I mean, they would have been in trouble in that game. So I'll take the points here now that we're getting up to 7.
VR, what do you think?
I think I'm going to release my prop of the year on this one, and it's that the coaches shake hands when this game's over. I mean, there's a lot of
talk. They're going to make nice?
They're going to make nice. They have to. There's a lot of talk about that, and let's face it, everyone's going to say the right things. That they're over it, there's no hard feelings, it means absolutely nothing, but it means a lot to both coaches and both these teams. So I think we're going to see extremely aggressive and physical defense. The thing with Detroit is this: can they establish any kind of run game? Green Bay wasn't able to, and they became one-dimensional, and San Fran shut them down. Last year, that was Detroit's biggest weakness. No other team in the NFL threw the ball more than Detroit did. They threw the ball 66+% at a time. That's nothing in this year's NFL. Week 1, teams passed for 71% of the times. So I guess everyone's following the Detroit Lions playbook, but with that said, it can't be one-dimensional against San Fran. And Detroit's a little bit banged up at running back. They're a little banged up in the secondary. I like what Brian's saying as far as value goes, but I'm just afraid to fade this San Fran team. I know they looked good on the road, and when a team, you always taught me, they're never as good as they look, they're never as bad as they look. If they read their press clippings, you want to fade them. But the thing with San Fran, coming into this season, everyone talked about how they're going to regress. Right. So I think they had a little chip on their shoulder saying, we're not going anywhere, fellas.
Well, from a situational standpoint, you know, the 49ers would be an auto fade this week. You know, you come off a road upset, you know, road dog, come home and be a favorite, plus the fact
beat Green Bay.
You beat the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. I just look at this 49er team and I look at Jim Harbaugh. He doesn't look like the kind of coach that lets his team
knows how to take off,
have that up and down, those swings. You know, and the big thing coming in, and you hit the nail on the head about everybody saying this is going to be a regression on the 49ers. I mean, I was in that camp too. My asterisk to the 49ers were Alex Smith. Everything I saw last year, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to say it to him blue in the face. You know I'm a Steeler fan, and you know I'm well familiar with Baltimore because they knock heads twice a year, every year, sometimes 3 because they meet in the playoffs. Those were the 2 hardest hitting teams in the NFL the last decade. We got to agree on that. Right now, those 2 teams are not the hardest hitting team in the NFL. It's the San Francisco 49ers. He is playing a brand of football that the NFC is not accustomed to. And that's what beat Green Bay last week. If they bring that intensity to Stafford
and punch him in the mouth, he's not mobile.
You know, that's my concern.
Well, we talked about the regression to the mean. And the only people I've ever heard that talked about that are guys who study the numbers, guys who gamble for a living. You turn on any of the NFL Network, any of the TV shows, all the guys that used to play in the NFL, they talked about San Francisco being the greatest thing on earth.
You're right.
But when you take a look at their numbers, I mean, they got every turnover in the world last year. Teams who win 4 more games than they do the prior year always regress 85% of the time. One of the guys in our Tuesday meeting, Joe Fortenbaugh, wrote a nice article on that. I mean, I'm not going to throw out everything based on what they did last week. I mean, Green Bay came into the season. Their defense, they drafted a lot of good defensive players, but they're not used to the system yet. Offensively, they've had some offensive line problems. So I give them credit. They won that game. They're a very good team, but I think they're a little overrated right now.
What about San Fran on the teaser? Just to win at home. I mean, you know, the players are saying, the coaches may be saying the right things, but the players are saying this is a big game. What I've read are these kind of quotes: statement game, payback. I mean, this is coming out of the players' mouths, so they're taking this seriously. I mean, we're going to get two motivated football teams, and I really think at the end result's going to be the better team's going to win the game. And to me, I think the better team right now is the 49ers. But line value, I got to agree with Bryan. I think this line's going to get to 7. Maybe, who knows, maybe you could get through 7. It's the primetime game. Maybe be able to get a better number on Detroit.
Do you really think, though, that they'll carry this through 7 and they won't just mess with the juice? Because
St. Louis almost beat Detroit last week at home.
I know that's going to happen, but, you know, if you a primetime game, if you take this through 7, you're opening up so much, you know, so many
floodgates for bad things to happen. Sure.
I had some clients that watched the videos last week, and I said we'd play Cincinnati at 7, and they said they found 7.5 from their locals.
Yeah.
So there's possibly, you know, especially if you're using a local.
If you're using a local, you can see stuff like that. But I just don't think the big books are going to let themselves, because the minute it goes to 7.5, every wise guy in town is going to pound.
You're leaving the door open for something ugly to happen.
You know, I don't see. The one thing that I will say, you know, even though every situation is against the 49ers, when I look at those spots where you come off a big game and you can say, okay, this is a flat spot. If the game they're coming to next is a nationally televised game, like this is the Sunday night game, I usually say you're going to get that one more effort, you know, then where you look to go against them. You look to go against them the next week. Because let's face it, this is a team that was 2 muffed punts away from going to the Super Bowl. They were clearly the best team in the NFC Championship.
They shouldn't have beat the Saints.
You know.
They shouldn't have beat the Saints.
Homer. But this is a situation. Yeah, you had a big future.
They shouldn't have beat the Saints, dude.
But this is a team that they've got a chip on their shoulder. They should have went to the Super Bowl last year. They've got a coach that's fiery, flamboyant. It's their home opener on Sunday Night TV. I don't think they're going to have that flat spot. And historically, Detroit's not played well on the road on the West Coast playing on grass fields. Last 18 times they've played an AFC West team on the road, they're only 4-14 against the spread. But Bryan, we've talked it. You've heard both sides. We've tried to play devil's advocate. This is your official pick, so you're on the clock. Tell us your final point. We'll wrap this one up. Good.
I'm going to take the points with the underdog here. I only made it 6. Underdogs have ruled in week 2 of the NFL. We've talked about a lot of these points. You've made some great points in this game on the other side. But if I can make the game 6, I think it's going 7.5. And the team I'm betting against just beat the Green Bay Packers, who were 15-1 in their home ballpark last week. The value is on the Lions.
As we wrap this up, one quick question to ask you, Bryan. When we have a line like this teetering at 7, you're hoping for the 7.5. Are you happy if you get 7 plus juice?
7 plus juice, I would take 7 plus juice.
Okay.
Green Bay's looking good right now against Chicago, so that may even make San Fran look even better.
All right, there you go. Obviously, we're taping on Thursday night. VR just time-stamped us. That wraps up this one. We've got one more NFL game we're going to preview for you guys. It's the Monday night game. It's the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. It's going to be my free pick. I'm going to surprise you with it. We'll be right back next here on pregame.tv.